All right, let's talk about Scott Ritter's analysis and what he said on the Jimmy Dore show, which Aaron Mate is covering for. So Scott points out that Poland and I forget the other country, the United States basically put on Aegis cruise missile platform, which is a sea-based cruise missile launch system and basically put that into on land-based. And he spoke further on it uh, about how basically uh, uh, the system's been placed in Poland and another country in Europe, and how cruise missiles are allowable on sea but not on land, and how cruise missiles can also be nuclear armed. And I believe he mentioned something about some sort of upgrade to the system. So, and how Russia has basically been saying, no, you can't do that. We won't accept that. And if you do this, it will mean escalation. Now, put that in conjunction with the Biden administration's newly revised nuclear posture policy plan, which basically they let the world know what it is, and basically what that nuclear posture policy plan states is, well, we will use nuclear weapons whenever, wherever we want, and so you don't even have to be, you don't even have to have nuclear weapons. We'll use them on you, and how they've basically said that the United States reserves the right to use first strike, and they include the tactical nukes into this nuclear posture plan. And so, and Scott, who was part of the group that helped with the nuclear weapons disarmament that took place during the period when the Soviet Union and the U.S. Were talking, and they were talking about, basically putting in, reduction of nuclear weapons and what cannot be used, and basically it was supposed to go until all nuclear weapons were gone, which the United States has not held up, and Trump and others have basically wiped out all the agreements that were made. And so, in light of all of this, the only conclusion, along with hearing all these politicians and so-called experts and military, retired and otherwise, talking about the use of nuclear weapons, about the first strike, and Zelensky saying, demanding a first strike use of nuclear weapons into Russia and everything else, and this claim of the United States saying Russia is using nuclear blackmail, except all the evidence shows it's the other way around, can only come to anybody who has some degree of sanity and cognitive reasoning, that what we have is a bunch of psychopaths, and that they're so unhinged to believe that there's any possibility of safe use of nuclear weapons, which is completely and utterly insane. And no rational, logical, critical thinking person could actually come to that and believe that. And so, and then you have Liz Truss, who who served as the shortest, basically unelected but appointed prime minister of UK, on TV, basically stone-faced saying, hey, yeah, I'm ready to use nuclear weapons. I'm ready to use nuclear weapons. And the most disturbing part about that is the audience were clapping and going, woo, and was like, what the? Nuclear weapons, use of nuclear weapons is not a fucking ball game. It's not a football game. It's not a game at all. It's not like doing that for friggin' America's Got Talent or whatever the hell the British version is, which was handed down to the American. It really isn't, and that just goes. That's the most unhinged thing I ever witnessed. I was like, what the hell is wrong with you people? This goes to show the level of ignorance and basically unhinged insanity of people in the West. It's got to be the most tragic and cataclysmic thing ever that weapons that will end all life on the planet, and you can go, ooh, yeah! Come on, think about it. It's like, basically you're saying, you hear, oh, I'm going to gas you, I'm going to gas you with a, D-Day, no, come in the yard. So basically, it's like you're being told you're going to be gassing your house. Your house is going to be, made so that nothing can escape, and you were going to gas you. And you're like, woohoo! That's how unhinged they sounded. And so this whole thing about using tactical moves and first strike and getting away and going away from all the stuff that restricts you from creating or using weapons like nuclear weapons is just insane. It's utterly unhinged. And yet you have them, and you have, and then you have so-called leaders like Borrell of the EU, talking about gardens and jungles and how it's like, and we need to send the gardeners out to to basically tame the jungle. It's like, and if you were paying attention towards the beginning of the conflict in Ukraine, you heard from CNN to MSNBC to the BBC to France 24 and all these DW, and they're talking about blonde and blue eyed. It's like. The civilized Europeans. I'm like, it's like, and what something that actually does give me a tiniest bit of hope is, there's a growing number of people who are talking about neo-feudalism. Or basically what I've put in other videos about how, democracy, republic, and all that, freedom and all that. It's just meaningless words, because the system is run like a feudal system. And if you study feudal history and so on and so forth, you understand exactly what I mean. Because aside from smartphones and TVs and almost instantaneous communication and being able to get to around the world within hours rather than years and months, and having and having instead of having big fireplaces, we have heating and air conditioning, everything else. Uh, Put that aside, and you look at the United States of the West is run by like a feudal system. They may not use the word lords and ladies and aristocracy and so on and so forth, but that's basically what it is. So people need to understand this. People need to educate themselves, and they have to understand there is no safe use of nuclear weapons. I mean, the 2 nuclear weapons that were used in Japan are still causing problems within the Japanese society, but also ecologically around the world. I mean, the 2 nuclear facilities and the dumping of the nuclear toxic waste on purpose and because of the natural causes is having ecological effects that are traveling all the way from Japan to California and inland into the United States. Those are things that you haven't heard, but those are the realities. I mean, you can dump toxins, you can pollute anywhere in the world, and it's going to go around the world. That's how the natural. That's how nature functions. So this, so we got pollution that's coming. We're destroying the natural world, making it the natural the planet, the living planet, unstable, and we see it in birth defects, in cancers, in autism, in all sorts of other health concerns. We see it in how it's killing off literally millions of species of from all the way from the bacterial to viral, all the way up to the more complex life forms like us and mammals and fish and so on and so forth. And we see the results of our trees getting sick earlier in their life cycle, with these infestation of this lichen, which is an infection. It's a physical form of infection, which kills the vibrancy and vitality of these trees, ending their life cycle early. Having too much carbon and other things. Too much of a good thing is bad for you, and that's what it's contributing to. That. It's all interconnected. So it's not. We can't stay on the sideline. We have to educate ourselves, and we need to learn how to critically think. And the only way to do that is to put effort into it. Otherwise, you're just not. That's called sloth. It's called sloth, and that's it. And there's a reason why sloth is one of the 7 deadly sins, because it allows DD in the yard, because it allows us to be complacent. It allows us to be It allows us to be manipulated. It it seeds layers upon layers of ignorance, and within that we can be easily sold Faustian deals and believe that it's right. So basically, if you live in the U.S. and the West, and those that have been corrupted by him, you're forced to live under a Faustian deal, and the Faustian deal is always ruinous for everybody, no matter who. And so, you know, people need to understand this. People need to be invested, and we cannot sit on the sidelines. We cannot be complacent. We cannot. We cannot be complacent, because complacency is complicity. It's complicity in our own downfall, in our own destruction. And I think many of us are seeing that, witnessing that through the increases in the prices that we're paying. And those costs have effects. It has an effect on our emotional, intellectual, our spiritual, and as well as physical and otherwise. And so people need to understand this. People need to come together. And if you want a quick way to put an end to this, and that is a general strike, and basically bring your country to a standstill. Be the community, be the brothers and sisters, and help each other sustain things, while those who are causing all this havoc, causing all this harm, causing all this hurt, are forced out, and and they get they get to understand that they don't have a right to dictate and rule and cause all this chaos, and that the consequences for them is to leave them no avenue or pathways to power. So, there's one solution for you. But that means people need to come together as a collective. People need to come together as in a consensus. That is democracy. Come together in a consensus of understanding. And so, and there you'll start getting clarity. And without that, you have no critical thinking, and you can't recognize enlightened self-preservation, and you come to understand that there is no electoralism in neo-feudalism. There never was. And neo-feudalism has always been the plan, always been the agenda. So, there's just too much evidence showing that what we need does not matter. And that's because we live under a neo-feudal system. And the only time that they move is when they fear retribution and the loss of power. And that's what we need. That's what started that whole thing with getting Social Security and all those other things, Medicare and Social Security and all the other things. And that's what the power brokers, the power players, these neo-feudal lords and ladies, that's the only thing that motivated them. But the thing is this time we can't allow them back. They need to be crushed, because there is no republic, there is no democracy, there is none of these virtues in a feudal system. There isn't.